Nepal Foreign Minister Pradeep Kumar Gyavali will be visiting India on the 14th of January to discuss a range of issues with officials here, including the new map that had triggered diplomatic tension between the two countries last year. Gyavali is scheduled to hold a meeting of the bilateral joint commission with his counterpart during his visit. He will also be the first senior-most political leader from Nepal to visit India after ties between the two countries derailed over a bitter border dispute. Nepal Prime Minister KP Oli has stated that the country is determined to bring back the 370 square kilometer area of Kalapani, Limpiadura, Lipu Lake at the tri-junction of Nepal, India and China under its possession through dialogue with India. Further, he stated that discussion will be centered on the issue of the map that we have published with the inclusion of the three territories during an address to the National Assembly. Joining us to take this story forward is Ambassador Deepak Vohra, former diplomat. We also have Major General G.G. Dwivedi, security analyst, joining us live. Pankaj Das, senior journalist, is joining us live from Nepal. And Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian, is with us live as well. Pankaj Das, let me begin with you first. ये एक पहला सच विजिट है जिसमें नेपाल के इतने वरिष्ठ मंत्री भारत आ रहे हैं इस पूरे मसले के बाद, जब भारत और नेपाल के रिश्ते जो हैं वो बिगड़ गए थे काफ़ी हालात तक। हमने देखा था कि भारत की तरफ से हमारे विदेश सचिव नेपाल आए थे, भारत के आर्मी चीफ भी नेपाल आए थे, मगर नेपाल की तरफ से ये पहले ऐसे सज्जन हैं और ऐसे वरिष्ठ मंत्री हैं जो भारत आ रहे हैं। क्या पढ़ा जा सकता है इस विजिट को लेकर और क्या क्या चर्चा होगी पंकज जब ग्यावली साहब आएंगे भारत?
जी, ग्यावली जी की जो इंडिया विजिट है उनके दो मेन फोकस है। एक तो नेपाल का जो इंटरनल पॉलिटिकल डिस्प्यूट है उसमें प्राइम मिनिस्टर केपी ओली ये दिखाना चाहते हैं कि संसद विघटन के बाद भी और ये जो है केयरटेकर गवर्नमेंट होने के बाद भी उनके मिनिस्टर वहां विजिट कर रहे हैं, इंडिया विजिट कर रहे हैं। तो ये सबसे बड़ा वो जो डोमेस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स में केपी ओली दिखाना चाहते हैं कि इंडिया का सपोर्ट उनको है, क्योंकि नेपाल में इस समय पूरा इंटरनेशनल जो गेम हो रहा है जिसमें यूएस इंटरेस्टेड है, चाइना इंटरेस्टेड है और इंडिया चूंकि ओपन बॉर्डर की वजह से इंडिया को इंटरेस्ट लेना ही पड़ता है। तो ये केपी ओली के लिए एक बड़ी जीत है कि ऐसे टाइम में एक उनके मिनिस्टर को इंडिया वो जा रहे हैं ज्वाइंट कमीशन की मीटिंग के लिए, जिस समय वो केयरटेकर गवर्नमेंट है और नेपाल में इलेक्शन का अनाउंसमेंट हो चुका है। दूसरी सबसे बड़ी बात जो है कोरोना वैक्सीन को लेकर है, जो नेपाल ने डिमांड की है 1 करोड़ 20 लाख कोरोना वैक्सीन की, उसको लेकर बातचीत की जाएगी। वहां पे जो है इंडिया ने एश्योरेंस दिया है। जब प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने सार्क कंट्री के स्टेट ऑफ हेड के साथ उनकी कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई थी तो उस समय उन्होंने कहा कि जब भी भारत इस तरह का कोई वैक्सीन तैयार करेगा तो पड़ोसी उसके लिए प्राथमिकता में होंगे और नेपाल सबसे ऊपर है। ऐसे दुख के समय हमेशा भारत जो है नेपाल के साथ खड़ा रहता है। तो वैक्सीन के टाइम में भी उन्हें नेपाल को सबसे ऊपर रखा है और नेपाल को वैक्सीन देने का एश्योरेंस जो आर्मी चीफ आए थे, फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी आए थे, उन सब ने किया है यहाँ पे। लेकिन ये जो आपने कहा काला पानी लिपु लेक की बात, तो ये सिर्फ पॉलिटिकल एक उनका प्रोपेगेंडा है केपी ओली का, जो उन्होंने कल नेशनल असेंबली में कहा है कि हम काला पानी लिपु लेक लिम्पियाधुरा पर भी चर्चा करेंगे। जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर अपनी सरकार नहीं बचा पाए, जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर संसद नहीं बचा पाए, जो अपनी पार्टी नहीं बचा पाए, वो काला पानी लिपु लेक क्या बचाएंगे? तो ये सब सिर्फ पॉलिटिकल प्रोपेगेंडा के अलावा और कुछ नहीं है। यहाँ पे सबको ये लग रहा है कि केपी ओली उस समय अपने आप को बहुत बड़ा नेशनलिस्ट कह के सारा वोट तो ले लिया, 2/3 मेजोरिटी उन्होंने ले आए चुनाव में। लेकिन उसके बाद क्या हुआ, जैसे ही रॉचिप से मिले उसके बाद तुरंत वो नक्शा छोटा हो गया था। तो जब ये इंडिया की बात आती है तो यहाँ अपोजिशन पार्टी भी उसको उठाती है उस चीज को कि इंडिया के साथ वो कब वो जमीन वापस आएगा। तो एक तुरुप का पत्ता है प्राइम मिनिस्टर के पास जो उन्होंने फेंक दिया है। हालांकि उस पर होना जाना कुछ नहीं है। इंडिया नेपाल के बीच में जो बॉर्डर डिस्प्यूट है, नॉर्मल बॉर्डर डिस्प्यूट के साथ उसका भी चर्चा होना है। बाकी ये प्रोपेगेंडा के अलावा और कुछ नहीं है।
प्रोपेगेंडा के अलावा ये कुछ नहीं है, मगर अभी भी केपी ओली लिपु लेक और काला पानी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं। अभी भी वो कह रहे हैं कि वो चाहते हैं कि वो जो टेरिटरी है वो नेपाल के कंट्रोल में आए। तो ये तो भारत को सही नहीं लगेगा। तो अभी भी क्या रिश्ते अच्छे चाहते हैं या अभी भी चीन के दबाव में चल रहे हैं केपी ओली?
जी देखिए, जब इंडिया के फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी यहाँ पे आए थे तब भी नेपाली मीडिया और नेपाल के पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स जो हैं उन्होंने गवर्नमेंट पर काफी प्रेशर दिया था कि बाकी सब एजेंडा को छोड़ दिया जाए और सिर्फ जो नया नक्शा नेपाल ने जारी किया है जो काला पानी लिपु लेक और लिम्पियाधुरा को लेकर सिर्फ उस पर बातचीत की जाए, जबकि उस पर कोई बातचीत ही नहीं हुई। सिर्फ 1-to-1 मुलाकात में हाँ ठीक है उसको हम लोग साथ में बैठ के मिलके उस समस्या का समाधान करेंगे, इतनी सी बात हुई थी। इस बार भी वही होना है, मीडियाबाजी होना है, प्रोपेगेंडा फैलाया जाना है, उससे जिसको फायदा होता है उसको फायदा लेना है। लेकिन जो एजेंडा सेट किया गया है दोनों कंट्रीज की तरफ से, उसमें कहीं भी उस बात का जिक्र नहीं है। ये ज्वाइंट कमीशन की मीटिंग है, इस बात को हमें ध्यान रखना होगा। जो फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी लेवल की मीटिंग हुई थी उसमें जो बातें तय हुई थी उस पर सिर्फ मुहर लगनी है, उसके अलावा एक भी कोई बात नहीं होनी है यहाँ पे। सिर्फ जो कोरोना वैक्सीन के अलावा इस समय नेपाल भी नहीं चाहेगा कि इंडिया जाके वो, क्योंकि उसको इंटरनेशनल सपोर्ट चाहिए यहाँ पे। अगर एक बार इंडिया अपनी आंख बंद कर ले नेपाल में तो केपी ओली कल के कल अपदस्थ हो जाएंगे, ये केपी ओली को अच्छी तरह से मालूम है। तो इसलिए वो इंडिया को इस समय बिल्कुल भी नहीं चिढ़ाना चाहेंगे। नेपाल में भले वो कुछ कर ले, इंडिया जाने के बाद उनका रुख बदलने वाला है, मुझे पूरा विश्वास है।
जी बिल्कुल पंकज, बने रहिए आप हमारे संग। मेजर जनरल द्विवेदी का रुख मैं करना चाहूंगा इस वक्त। मेजर जनरल द्विवेदी, constant flip-flops from Nepal. How do you view the Nepal FM's visits, and do you believe that it could perhaps give the much-needed positive fillip to India-Nepal ties?
Is this question for me?
No, for General Dwivedi.
Okay, good. So you take the difficult one.
Well, Uday, we have to see the game, how this game has been played out. And then we can see how it is going to pan out. Primarily, the whole game was Kohli-centric because he stuck to his chair and he kept on deepening the crisis and playing all the possible cards that he had. And in this process, well, he elicited support from China through the ambassador, Hao Yan-chi. He spared no effort to raise the anti-India nationalism by banning the constitution and also new map. Now these are all political gimmicks because just to hold on to the chair. Now he has fired every shot and currently he is back to the wall because the issue is now in the Supreme Court whether his dissolution will be upheld or there will be fresh elections. Now here on, what is Kohli's game plan? His game plan is still to be relevant and he is playing double game. At one end, the effort is to improve the relation with India, which has almost hit the rock bottom. Since 15th August, when he made a call to Prime Minister Modi, he has been making all the effort to actually undo the damage. At the same time, he is playing to his own home constituency. And that is, he is playing as a great hero, as a bravado that he has taken on India, and he is still, the issue of map is prime. But let's see a little further. Now, what is India's position? I think we need to calibrate this whole issue in two parts. One is bilateral, and second is how it is domestically being played out in Nepal. As far as Nepal domestic politics are concerned, I think we must keep out of it because Chinese have already burned the hand. Yan Chi actually also, licked the dust, and so also Ko, who had come to save the party, has not been able to meet any success. But as we are repairing the relations, 3-4 things are very important. Firstly, Nepal must be made to feel that we will deal with them as in equal terms. That is one area where the sentiments of people are being exploited. Secondly, there is a huge trade imbalance. Nepal is only exporting 1 billion to us and importing 8 billion. So therefore, this deficit needs to be addressed. Thirdly, we need to encourage the investments because our projects actually have not kept pace with time, and this must be put on track. And finally, we must expose the Chinese because their debt trap diplomacy is playing out in Pakistan, in Laos, in Africa, in Sri Lanka. We must expose to them that what Chinese are doing and meddling in their affairs is a very transactional and a very exploitive means. And our relationship are more on people to people for the longer good of Nepal, and that's what must be assured.
Okay. Ambassador Vohra, let me take that across to you now. Are we to trust Nepal? It's a fundamental question after what has transpired, what has happened last year, after Chinese efforts to meddle in Nepal's internal affairs, which still continue, might I add. Can we trust Nepal, sir?
Thank you very much for this opportunity, as always, to interact with you, sir, to learn from you. You ask very probing questions, and your channel, of course, is seen around the world and widely respected. The recent events in Nepal, sir, make three things clear, and I speak with 48 years of experience in diplomacy and counting. Number one, smart governments must never cut off their nose to spite their face, as KP Oli has tried to do. We are all prisoners of our geography. Nepal is located where it is located. You can blame God for it. And we therefore all have more or less room for maneuver. And thirdly, tried and trusted friends should never be antagonized. So as any impartial observer will tell you, in India's 74 years, almost as an independent nation, we have never deliberately busted our relationship with another country. Our quiet diplomacy, however much you criticize it, two attributes: amazing analytical ability and infinite patience. Our equity in Nepal runs very deep. Your question was, can we trust Nepal? Of course we can. We trust the people of Nepal. We might not trust Shri KP Oli, and has been rightly pointed out by General Saab, who has a lot of diplomatic experience, and our colleague, the journalist. It's quite clear that KP Oli is playing, he's speaking with two voices. Everybody does. He's two-faced. On the one hand, when he says we will discuss the issue of a few hundred square kilometers of territory, of course it is. He will. It reassures his people. At the same time, his foreign minister comes here to make all polite noises. At this point of time, he wants 12 million doses of the Indian vaccine. He doesn't want the Chinese vaccine. He doesn't trust his father-in-law, Xi Jinping, to give him something that is going to save the lives of his people. Therefore, may I just put it to you very bluntly, sir. KP Oli might say what he wants from his mind, but in his heart, in their hearts, every Nepalese knows that their loyal, trusted, giving friend is a country called India.
Okay, absolutely. But the fact, Joyita, is that there is still some obvious Chinese meddling happening. KP Oli also knows his days perhaps may be numbered if he does not toe the Chinese line. What explains this constant flip-flop that we're seeing from Nepal? One day they issue the map, second day they withdraw it. Now we again are seeing remarks in his address to the National Assembly where he's saying through dialogue he wants those three parts to be in Nepalese jurisdiction and Nepalese territory. Are these flip-flops in your opinion, or is this just the new Nepal policy towards India?
We call this flip-flop diplomacy.
Yeah, Joyita.
Okay, you see what is going on is primarily the flip-flop, if we call it a flip-flop, basically it is Mr. Oli. It is Mr. Oli's politics. Let us not really identify it with Nepal's politics or Nepal policy as such, because we don't know what is going to happen, because in the election, which government comes to power and what exactly the policy is. Let us hope there will be some kind of a course correction, because what Mr. Oli has done, Mr. Oli has hurt India-Nepal relations quite a bit. I'm not going to say immeasurably, because there is always a room for repair and it can be repaired. And in this case, in particular, what is happening, this particular visit is, in spite of all the posturing that Mr. Oli is doing in Kathmandu, the fact of the matter is that this is primarily about the vaccine. And they are basically eyeing that Serum Institute vaccine, that Oxford AstraZeneca. They are hoping that, I think India has already talked to them in terms of giving some vaccines as free, I think 500,000 doses or something like that. And they are not so keen on the Covaxin, the Bharat Biotech Limited. They are not very keen on that. If you read up, follow up a bit of Nepalese press, they are primarily eyeing that Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Now, having said that, of course, it seems a lot of politics is also being played in Nepal over from where and what vaccine to procure. Well, I differ a little bit with Mr. Ambassador Vohra when he's talking about the Chinese. They are not looking at the Chinese. I think they have not ruled it out either. And I'm certain the Chinese will be more than happy to get involved in it. But you see, what is fundamentally, there is only one thing that we can talk about with certainty, and that is Nepal, in spite of whatever some of its leaders might be wanting to do, Nepal cannot ignore India. We are too closely tied. in not just in terms of people, everything in terms of trade, everything we are, and whatever Chinese moves may be, it is going to be difficult to, I would say, erase India's influence from Nepal.
You know, but Joyita, do you believe then that perhaps this visit could be of relevance? You know, these talks could help solve some of the outstanding issues.
Oh yeah.
If you ask in terms of boundary question and this Lipulek and all, no, I don't think we are going to see any progress over that. And anyway, we don't know whether for all we know, Mr. Oli is politically finished. What authority does he have? You know, but then the thing is that he can always make amends and make amends to the map that he has done. But can he do that? I don't think so, because he has already escalated matters. So that is why I think this particular visit is primarily going to be about the vaccines and not about the other things.
Ambassador Vohra, what all could figure in these talks? Yeah.
Well, there are, several issues. Whenever we have talks, and I've participated in several of these government-to-government meetings at foreign minister level, we did nothing but this. There are several issues that will be raised. Cooperation will be raised. Scholarships will be done. The vaccine will be raised. Territorial issues will be raised. It's a whole gamut of issues that will be discussed, but in a spirit of give and take as mature nations. We will not have any kind of political grandstanding. You can take it from me, sir. That is not our style. Our response to all the provocations from Nepal have been very measured, very considerate, very balanced. We have not come out and said, we'll teach you a lesson, we'll do this, we'll do that, as those fellows in that country, it's called China, I think. They keep threatening everybody to teach a lesson from time to time. We don't do that. That's not our style. Ours is a very mature kind of approach that we have. I just want to conclude, sir, by saying that you can expect, whatever you expect, you'll probably get more than that in these talks. And this is an important stage after the visit of our intelligence chief, military chief, foreign secretary to Nepal. This is going to lead to a reset in bilateral relations, and we'll wait and see what the results of the elections are. But when you refer to flip-flop, I was a little amused, because a fellow who flips one day flops the next. So one has to be very careful about it. Sir, India-Nepal relations are much too strong for any KP Oli to damage them permanently, as Ms. Basu said. It will not happen.
Okay, Mijjanal Dwivedi, at the end of the day, of course, do you believe also KP Oli's fresh statements should be viewed in context with the political instability that he's facing and the constitutional crisis that Nepal has been plagued with since the last few weeks and months?
Absolutely. His all anti-India stance was more of political consumption of his home constituency, and I don't think it is very deeply intended. It just was to save his chair and also save his position, so he used this card. But I like to bring in 2-3 points. Firstly, diplomacy is an ongoing process, and it depends upon the bilateral visits. So this visit is also going to actually further, bring the relations more on track and also build understanding. Because in diplomacy, you have to talk, you have to have a dialogue, and you have to have a platform. So this visit is important, that it will take the issues further. But yes, on these certain critical issues now, that about, let's say, 1950 treaty or the map issue, that these are very complex issues, and these will maybe touch in passant, but they will not be the main issues. The main issues will be, one is the investments, second is how we can actually bring in more equality in our relations, especially about the trade. Vaccine is very important, and also further reinforce our relationship, because if at all the damage has been done, now this is a time to reassure that our relationship are far deeper than the personalities, and people-to-people relations are very important. China will be a factor. We should not have China phobia, but we should keep exposing the Chinese intent very squarely to the people and build upon these relations, do the doable, and what can't be done, that can be left after. Diplomacy is not a question mark or a comma, it is continuous dots which you keep joining over a period of time.
Excellent.
Yeah, Pankaj Das.
Sir, may I just make a comment? I wonder if you are aware where a character called Kamal Dahal Prachanda is at the moment?
Yes.
Till a couple of days ago, he was in Mumbai for the treatment of his wife who's critically ill. He took her to Singapore, he took her to the USA. He hasn't taken her to Shanghai, sir. He's brought her to Mumbai. What does that tell you, sir? Make up your mind. See where your heart is. See even where your mind is. This is India's strength. And we didn't say, no, we won't treat her. We're giving her the best possible treatment.
Okay.
This is India.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. And Pankaj Das, that's quite interesting कि प्रचंडा भी इस वक्त भारत में ही थे कुछ दिन पहले तक, ऐसा एम्बेसडर वोहरा का कहना है. मगर पंकज, अगर हम इस मीटिंग को देखें तो क्या खुद नेपाल के प्रधानमंत्री केपी ओली इस मीटिंग को लेकर ध्यान दे रहे हैं? क्या खुद उन्होंने विदेश मंत्री को भेजा है भारत? क्या खुद वह चाह रहे हैं कि भारत और नेपाल के बीच में संबंध जो हैं वो सुधरें, या फिर ये कस्टमरी विजिट है, ये टोकन विजिट है? पंकज, आप म्यूट पे हैं, आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा अपने आप को.
प्रधानमंत्री ओली ने ये इस समय जानबूझ के भेजा है. अभी इस मीटिंग का कोई बहुत ज्यादा वो मकसद नहीं था, लेकिन एक डोमेस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स में, जैसा कि मैंने पहले भी कहा कि डोमेस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स में अपनी पकड़ को दिखाने के लिए कि इंटरनेशनल जो दूसरे देश है मुझे फेवर कर रहे हैं, तो इस वजह से वो फॉरेन मिनिस्टर को वहां पे भेज रहे हैं. जैसा एम्बेसडर बोहरा ने कहा कि प्रचंड का जिक्र किया उन्होंने कि वो मुंबई में थे. जरूर वो मुंबई में थे, पत्नी के इलाज के बहाने वो भी वहां राजनीति कर रहे थे. उनकी भी यही इच्छा थी कि वो इंडिया का सपोर्ट ले. वो वहां पर जाके वो चाहते थे कि मैं वहां पे होम मिनिस्टर, डिफेंस मिनिस्टर से मिलूं. उन्होंने सबसे मिलने का टाइम भी लिया था, लेकिन कहीं से कोई टाइम नहीं मिला. इंडिया ने क्लियर कर दिया कि ऐसे इंटरनल डिस्प्यूट के समय में हम किसी भी एक पक्ष के साथ खड़े नहीं रह सकते हैं. वो गवर्नमेंट के साथ हैं, तो अभी गवर्नमेंट में केपी ओली हैं. और दूसरी एक बात मैं जाते जाते कहना चाहता हूं, केपी ओली के बातों को बहुत ज्यादा सीरियसली नहीं लिया जाए. उनके बातों को नेपाल के लोग सीरियसली नहीं लेते हैं. उनके बात को हंसी मजाक में उड़ाया जाता है. इसलिए मैं आग्रह करता हूं हमारे फ्रेंड्स से उनके बात को बहुत ज्यादा सीरियसली नहीं लिया जाए.
He is the Donald Trump of Nepal.
Yeah, of course.
Joyita Basu, how do you react to what Pankaj just said?
Well, I think he summed up the whole debate in exactly 2 sentences, you know. So basically, you don't take this man seriously. See, that is why I keep on saying this visit is not about Lipulek, it is all about vaccines. I think he's trying to pull off a decent deal, decent business deal with India and show it to the people and go to the election telling the people that, see, this is the rate I got the vaccine from India for. And I think that he wants to perhaps make this also into a political issue. I think that is what is going to happen.
Okay.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.